Back here from Borio's 8891 McDonald's Parkway in Cicero, New York, with Adrian Autry, the man who's just a little bit taller than me, I guess. But.
Just a little bit. A couple inches, don't worry about it.
But here talking about Syracuse, when the weather is nice. See, usually when Syracuse is playing, all of this is snow.
Yep.
And it's a little bit cold. We wouldn't be outside right now. But it's a little bit different than the Buffalo days when you were out there in the tournament. So
What's the new saying? Basketball never stops.
It doesn't.
This is the result of this right here.
Absolutely. Basketball never takes a day off. This man is a testament to that. So last time when we were talking here, and in part one of being out here at Borio's, our inaugural time out here, we were discussing Jerami Grant, decision to leave, talked a little bit about his jump shot. What else about him should NBA teams know when it comes to his overall game?
Well, I think, one, he has that the elite NBA athleticism, which all the Syracuse fans have come to know. Those some of the plays that you can't teach it. It's just like, wow, did that just happen? And I think his athleticism. But the one thing, besides that, the type of kid he is, he's an unbelievable kid. He's going to come in there and he's going to work hard. He's going to do anything and everything that they ask of him. I don't think they can, whoever gets him, they're not going to be able to get a better kid than him. I mean, he's really a phenomenal kid as far as that. And he's going to work and he's going to continue to get better. The sky's the limit for Jerami Grant. You won't be able to tell how good he is in probably till like year 3. And I think, just the sky's the limit for him. He's going to be an unbelievable NBA player.
We talked about in the beginning of the season that there were already scouts that were looking at him, and when you were getting those phone calls, it was going toward Jerami as one of the guys. What type of questions did they want to know about his game? I mean, what type of things were they keying in on?
Well, I don't think they key into one thing. I think the one thing about the NBA is that they want to try to get a feel for the person. What type of person is he? What type of kid is he? What's his work ethic like? Does he stay before practice? How much work does he get? Does he work on his own on his days off? Where is he at? What is he doing? They try to get a feel for more of the person, because I believe the skill part, that's something that if you want to be in the NBA, you're going to get better at it. Eventually you'll get better at it. But I think what takes you to that what separates kids, I think a lot of times, is that work ethic. If they're good hard workers, kids that kind of keep to themselves, they don't have to worry about it. So, those more character questions than anything.
His character, his type of work ethic, when you're not in the gym and practice is over, practice is done, you've watched your film, is Jerami that gym rat that's always going to be in there trying to make his game better? I mean, is that something we can expect out of him?
Absolutely. I think the reason why Syracuse basketball in the last 3 to 4 or 5 years has been consistently, one of the top 5 programs in the country is because that's the culture that we have here. These are the guys that we have here that are doing that. And those guys work just as hard as when they're with us than when they were not with us. So you don't have to worry about our guys getting in the gym, and especially Jerami getting in the gym and working. That's what he's going to do. The reason why he's been able to get to where he's at so far has been based on work, and he has a great understanding of that.
Out of all the guys that you've ever coached, does anybody dunk better than Jerami Grant?
I've seen some guys, but since I've been back, and I've only been, this is year 3, he probably was one of the best dunkers that I've seen since I've been here in Syracuse, as far as a coach, not before. Because Dave Johnson and those guys, Luke Jackson, we had a couple of high flyers back when I was playing that did some unbelievable stuff. God bless Conrad McCray. They do on some nasty dunks as well, but now I'm outdating myself. But anyway, but for the last 3 years, Jerami Grant probably was the most exciting dunker we had on our team.
When you look at his game and you're standing there on the sideline, has he ever shocked you in a good way, surprised you by something that he's done this season?
Oh, yeah. Probably the first 24 or 5 games he was doing something that was, the one thing about Jerami is that he was so unselfish and tenacious as going and getting stuff. He didn't wait for things to come to him. He went and got stuff. So all of his highlight plays was him, running in from somewhere and just kind of going up and I wanted more and just flying out of nowhere. So I think when you make plays like that, that's stuff that you can't teach really.
I want to go back to the Dayton game. Obviously a tough game for everybody, but was that something where you thought they had figured out Jerami, or was it something else? I mean, defensively, it seemed like he could take on anybody throughout the season, but he seemed to have struggled a little bit there.
You know, that game, I don't know. I think sometimes players tend to, when the game kind of starts dictating itself, and if they maybe miss something, if they miss a shot that they normally make or something, I think they sometimes try to say, okay, we're still in the game. Let me just try to focus on some other things. And I think he got caught up focusing on, trying to do things defensively and not, kind of disrupt the offense and trying to take something that came to him. And I think he was a lot more passive, I think, in that game. And next thing you know, the game was over with. So I think it was one of those deals. I don't know for sure, but that was kind of my read as I was watching the game. And I think he was just trying to do whatever it is to help the team win and not kind of mess things up.
As a coaching staff, how did you take the way that everything ended? Because obviously the expectation in the beginning of the season kept getting higher and higher and higher to a point where they had Syracuse as a team that had earned a spot in the Final Four, and then some struggles happen. ACC tournament goes out fast. When you end the season the way that it ends, did it let you down as a coach? I mean, did you kind of look back on everything and say, we were a lot better than we showed that day against Dayton? Or, how do you kind of assess everything because you started so strong?
Well, I think as a coaching staff, all year long, even when we jumped out to that run, we probably won 6 or 7 games. At least 2 of them probably had no business winning, just the way it was. So we were playing close games, and at that time, we were prevailing. And that was just the makeup of our team. So for something like that to happen, was it a surprise? No, because we all know in the NCAA tournament, anything can happen. Nothing is a guarantee. So we had been in those close, tight games all year, and just so at the end of the year, we started, we dropped a couple where in the beginning of the year, we were making plays, and we got some breaks and converted them and got a chance to win. But I think overall, yes, are you disappointed because you never want to lose and you felt like, that was a team that we could have beat, but you also understand this is the tournament, kids, anything can happen. But we never thought that our team was, that much better, or we had that much, room for error to beat guys. We were playing in close games. We won the most close games, I think, to anybody in our conference last year.
Did this team, kind of on my side at least, surprise you that there was so many of those games that were won, and when the team was maybe out of it in a lot of people's minds, they were never really out of any game, even when there were those hard games. Really, I would say maybe only Virginia, where it was the double digit, was the game over, so to speak. Did this team and the makeup of the team, and because it was so young, was there a lot of surprise on your end that, wow, these guys really came together a lot quicker than we thought they would?
Absolutely. I mean, when you start adding, a freshman point guard and then Jerami Grant, who played sparingly last year, but didn't get, a lot of repetition, different roles, basically people being thrust into different roles and bringing in freshmen. So we had a lot of, like you say, youth. You knew we would be competitive because of C.J. Fair and Bakita, but you just didn't know how good we could be. So it was a surprise to see us gel that quickly because of the youth and the fact that we had a freshman point guard, which we all believe was really good, but you couldn't imagine him to play the way he played, mature beyond his years, and just kind of got everybody, in line. That was a surprise.
Before we take our next break here, you brought up Bakita. I think he is one of the most underappreciated Syracuse players in history. When he leaves, what do you lose from what you see every day and what you know? Because I feel like from practice to the game, there was a lot of things that fans maybe never saw that Bakita really gave to the team.
Well, I think like anything in any successful business, anything that's successful, it's certain guys that, they may not show up, especially in sports. The numbers may not be, you may not see it in numbers, but just the small, the intangibles, the leadership, the positive attitude, the confidence, instilling it, grabbing people, and uplifting them and putting them under their shoulders and letting them know it's going to be okay. When you talk about missing a Bakita, if you don't have a Bakita, maybe Jerami Grant doesn't play that well. Maybe Tyler Ennis doesn't play that well. Maybe, whoever stepped up and had a great game, maybe that don't happen just because Bai is so positive and Bai was always talking. He knows what it takes, to win. And then when you look at your senior who's not starting, who's sacrificing for the sake of the team because winning is more important than anything, that sends a message that, right down to the freshmen, that this thing is about winning, and you can't win if you don't have guys like that.
With Bai, like you said, maybe Tyler doesn't play that well, maybe Jeremy doesn't play that well. Even though there's no conversation of Bai playing professional basketball in the NBA, do they kind of owe a little bit of whatever comes to them to the fact that he was there for them?
Well, I think I think everyone is going to reap the benefits of what we did, as a team. These guys have been able to be able to put their names in the draft. I mean, again, we don't know. Hopefully everything will work out to the for the best of them. But even with Bakita, you never know. Just because it's not talked, you don't know. He may be able to go over and play in Europe somewhere. Someone may value that skill. What I've learned over the years is most of the time when people get out of college, they get better as a basketball player. Whether they were a starter or whether they play limited minutes, they just naturally, if they continue in the path of basketball, they get better. Everyone gets better because now it's the real world. Now it's kind of what they do. They don't have a lot of distractions. So, you just never know with Bob. I'm not saying it's the NBA, but you never know. He may go over in Europe and have an unbelievable, successful career.
Adrian Autry here, McDonald's Parkway in Cicero, New York, right on the water, Borio's restaurant. We are here every single month talking basketball when it's beautiful out and when it's cold out because basketball never stops. Adrian Autry, Dan Tortora will be back here. Wake up call with Dan Tortora in just a few minutes.